Today is start of phase 2 of our irrigation project and expansion. So it seems like we're getting a late start, but we're actually not. Beautiful morning, it's a little wet, piggies are up and eating, but man, it is gorgeous. Today we're going to be working on irrigation, but before I start that, we had a lot of rain yesterday, which is nice. Haven't had that in quite a long time. Making things a bit muddy for us today, but what I thought was really cool and I wanted to show you guys is as you guys know, we talk a lot about trying to encourage worm growth, biologic activity, etc. So after the rains, this is something that I haven't seen since probably Southern California days for me, so a long time ago. But I'm back here next to the outbuilding. So you see the outbuilding right here. And as I was standing here, I was getting my boots on because we're gonna be tromping through the mud today. And all of a sudden I realized that I've got these things crawling on the ground. That would be a worm. We've got worms coming up all over here. So they're coming up obviously out of the ground, and we've got the mulberry trees right behind me here, the berry beds that I know had worms in them. And so you can see they're venturing out because we have moisture here. So that is really exciting to see. I mean, how many of you guys out there here in Arizona wake up in the morning and you see worms kind of hanging out on concrete? I know for me, this is a first. All right, so we got some assistance today from our son, Austin, who's getting dirty.
Yeah.
And you can't wait.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Lori. Hi, sweetie. Okay, so trenching, we got a lot of work to do today. We have George with Sprinkler Dude. He is our go-to guy, has been helping us with irrigation here really since the old farm started. But first things first, back behind me there, that would be the trencher that we have rented today. We went with a smaller trencher, the 24-inch, but we need to get it unloaded and we need to kind of get to work. So a couple of challenges that we have with that rain is we did paint lines for all the irrigation extensions a couple weeks ago, and they have now disappeared. Fortunately, we have plenty of upside down paint to go ahead and repaint those lines. We need to get that done because we got a lot of digging in the ground to do. We wanted to take a quick break. We're trying to get some of kind of the overview of what we're doing today. Austin's working the trencher. He's actually heading to the back. I'll show you guys what we're working on, but I wanted to start up here with the garden beds. You can see we had stubbed up 1-inch lines that run out to each one of the beds. Now, this is 2 separate lines so that we can kind of control the irrigation separately on each one of these beds. So we'll have a 1-inch line that goes down as the main, and then we'll cut in and have 3/4-inch lines that run to each one of the beds. I dry fitted the fittings at the end of each bed, and I'll show you that here real quick. The trench is gonna come in this way, and we're gonna have dirt. You'll see this is real shallow. That's on purpose. We're gonna obviously have the potted plant here. We'll have wood chips nice and heavy in here and dirt. So this doesn't need to be very deep, but you'll see this move. So we did that on purpose. I have the inside is glued and it'll be watertight. It'll be very easy for us to just tap into this with a coupler and connect this to the main line. So that's what's gonna happen with the garden beds. So let's go ahead and slide over to the berries. You'll see what we're working on there. We're here next to our blackberry bed where we have our acorn squash that's starting to die back from the winter. Now we had taken a 3/4-inch line. There's a 1-inch line that runs to all the mulberry trees, and then we have a 3/4-inch line that runs through here. You'll see we'll basically just connect into there and then essentially hand trench over to this corner here so we can tap into the bed and go ahead and get irrigation run to the berries. So we're working on this as well. Something right over here next to the outbuilding. One of the things we covered last week, I think it was in the vlog, was tapping into the main line out here past the outbuilding, and this is what our new hydrants are gonna look like. So we're gonna be replacing the ones that we had, and these are nice and sturdy once they get kind of packed in here, but all metal, very easy for us to tap into this here on the edge of the outbuilding. We do process chickens right here on the corner, so it's gonna be easy for us to tap into that. Plus, you guys watched us install this as well. That's actually the line that comes from our downspouts. These are our rain gutters where they actually come out Those tap into this line here and then shoot out into the berry area. So we'll have running water here next to where we're going to be processing, and we'll be able to tap into this, basically a sewer line that runs out into the berry area. So we've got this going in, so this hydrant going in. Let's go ahead and take a look at where Austin's working. We're actually back at the gate, our livestock acres behind us, and you can see down here where we had basically stubbed all of these lines out. So what we have down here, this is our main line, which usually has constant pressure. You guys have seen us tap into this quick connect coupler here. We're going to be adding a few more of those. So we'll be extending this main line here. We have 2 additional lines here that are going to have irrigation run off of them. So these 2, we're going to take one and stub it up just on the other side of the fence post here. I don't know what we're going to use that for, but it's a line that will be for future expansion. And then we'll be taking another line, probably this one here, running this along with the main all the way around the back of the livestock area here on the back of the farm. So you can see the trenching that Austin's done there. He's actually heading across the farm that way. We'll also be putting a hydrant running over to the livestock acre. So we got a lot of stuff that is going to be going on back here. In addition to that, we'll be placing 12 large trees here in the spring, late winter spring. They're going to be bare root trees. But we'll be placing 12 large trees on this one line that we're going to be extending along with the main line. So we've got a whole lot of pipe that we need to put together as soon as Austin is done trenching. So Larry and I are going to go ahead and get to work at that. We'll take a break as soon as we can to kind of show you how everything's coming along. It is Saturday, December 12th, and we've actually got some pipe laid out this morning. We got a lot of pipe to glue up today. But what we're doing is we're actually going to be expanding the line here. So if Lori looks down that way, George has already gone through and extended our main line and went ahead and put in a valve here, just in case we need to seal off the back 40 here. You know, we break off a hydrant or something. We don't have constant pressure basically emptying out our tank. So we're able to stop it here if we need to and keep water to the front of the property. So we have that. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking 1 1/4 inch line and extending our irrigation lines, because we're going to have large trees against the back of the property. So we need to get our irrigation lines strung to that. So Austin and I will be gluing up about 700 or 750 feet of 1 1/4 inch line to get back into there. So we're gonna go ahead and get started here this morning. We have the first line done. You can see we just got the elbow in. So looking back, we've got, I don't remember how many we did, but probably about 250, 260 feet of line that was nice and straight and easy. Now that we've got the elbow here, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be heading down this way. And actually, this is where we have all the trees. Now what we need to do is we're gonna do 100-foot sections. We'll have a couple trees in each one. So you'll see us cutting in, so extending the line, doing a single line, and then cutting in for each one of the trees and extending a 3/4 inch line from that tee out to where the tree is gonna be. So we're gonna go ahead and get to work on this. So you can see how that goes in. So we just put a T in here as we were describing. So you got a 1 1/4 inch and it necks down to a 3/4 inch line. That's what we have going out to the riser, which will eventually have our 1/2 gallon per minute bubbler. And then of course you've seen us install the trees. The trees will be another 5 feet from there. So now what Austin and I get to do is spend the next hour or two getting the rest of this line done. So we spent the morning getting these lines in the back. As Lori looks that way, you'll see we have T-posts and we have valve box covers where we're gonna have our trees along this side here. So we have 10 trees that'll run along here, nice big trees. And then George is wrapping up down that way. We've got 2 more trees so that'll kind of come over here in an L. That's all on this same 1 1/4 inch line. And these trees are gonna be larger trees. We've been kind of hinting towards that. Haven't told you yet what they're gonna be because we'll show you how we plant those. They're gonna all be bare root trees. But we wanted to make sure we kind of flanked this back corner of the property with nice big tall trees. So we have this done. Now what we're gonna do is get a few things wrapped up here, make sure all these lines are buried, and then slide back up towards the house. Now we're back onto the front of the property. We're working here in the berry bed area. So we have the 3 berry beds we're gonna be running irrigation to. We already had that 3/4 line basically plumbed in here and ready to go. Now we're gonna tap into that line to get to these 3 beds. So it's all 3/4 inch fittings. We'll be teeing off of the main line there and bringing the line all the way into the bed. So we removed a couple of bricks here so we can come in with this elbow at the end, right there, tee up into this riser, and then I have a drip emitter. We're gonna be using drip irrigation on the berries here. So I'll have the multi-head drip emitter that I can bring in here. So that's gonna allow us to take care of 1 blackberry in this case, which is our very aggressive triple crown blackberry, or we could have multiple plantings in here, and I've got basically 4 stations that I can run separate drip emitters off of. So we're gonna go ahead and get to work, hopefully before the sun goes down. It is Sunday morning, December 13th, and we've been working this morning. We're about halfway done on the garden beds, but we were able to get the berry beds finished. So these are ready to go. Already actually have the emitters on here. So let me show you how we have these beds set up. We came in with a 3/4 inch line right through here and then stubbed it up. We showed you that so that we had the 12 inch riser coming up to this multi-pronged 1/4 inch drip head. I have 1 drip line, so 1/4 inch drip line attached. You can see we added rock in here. The reason why you add rock in here is you want to make sure that you don't have rodents crawling up in through here. We've also seen that you have like your crickets and things will kind of dig in here, so will beetles. So they'll push dirt up into here. With the rocks in there, that larger rock, they're not able to do that. So this drip line comes from here and runs underneath the wood chips here, and it comes out right over there, right next to the blackberry. Right now, that is a 2 gallon per hour emitter, which will allow us to water this nice and slow and heavy while we're watering the mulberry trees kind of on that same time frame, just in the larger ring. So this will be on for a couple hours every probably couple weeks here in the wintertime. During the summertime, we can water these once or twice a week, nice and heavy. Now we can also split that line. I have a 2 gallon per hour emitter on there while this is small. We can also split that up and actually have multiple 2 gallon per hour or 4 gallon per hour emitters to add additional water that we're putting into the bed. So these beds are done. Now let's go over and take a look and see what we've gotten accomplished on the garden beds. Here you can see how we have the pipes done. We had the 1 inch main line that came in this way. We teed it off and necked it down to a 3/4 inch line, and the 3/4 inch line is what goes over into the bed. Now we don't have anything else to do in here shy of all the irrigation for the bed, but we're not going to get that accomplished today. However, these lines are all running a low pressure water, so it'll be very easy for us to use any type of drip irrigation up in the beds. As soon as we get all this fired up, we'll have water there. All I need to do is cut the PVC down and do an installation as far as that is concerned. Now we have two different types of things going on at the front of these beds. The first one, you'll see our potted apple tree there and these wood chips. So these trees in the pots will actually be watered off of the grapevines, because these have to be watered very similar, or the pots will be watered very similar to the grapevines and the trees, because we do plan on having trees or bushes in those pots. So that's where the irrigation is going to come from there. However, we have 8 other beds in here that are going to be a little bit different. Here you can see we have a T here, and we have this stubbed up with a small riser. This is going to allow us to actually establish a different plant here in this bed. So we'll be able to plant it on center, have another type of raised bed, just smaller in the front here. And that's probably where we're going to be growing things like herbs and small plants and bushes and perennials, as opposed to the annual garden beds that we have. Now, of course, those will be watered more regularly, just like our garden beds are. So we're going to go ahead and run them on the same line. So we wanted to go ahead and tee off of that line, allow us to do drip irrigation on these plants in the front and water them along with all of the vegetable gardens. So we have these 6 beds here. The fall beds are all done. Austin's working on the spring beds, so we need to get the irrigation done there. So when we're done with all of that, we'll come back to you. So after 2.5 days, we are finally done. So you can see behind me here how we have the garden beds. Went ahead and got these filled back in and tamped. In fact, Lori was doing the vlog that you guys are actually seeing today, and she kind of went over some of those details. But you can see we've got the 2 hydrants here. Really gonna like that setup because we have plenty of water access, because that's the idea behind irrigation. And being in the desert, that's what we always struggle with, is water. So we have easy access to water here, and we have water now to the back of the property, which is really, really exciting. So as far as totals, we had put in about 6,600 feet of total irrigation in our phase 1 of irrigation install. Here in phase 2, we put in about 1,800 feet. So we have over 8,000 feet of line in the ground, which is what, I don't know, 1.5 miles of irrigation lines. Now, we're not done. We still have quite a bit to do as far as that is concerned. However, this is gonna allow us to put trees along the back of the property there, which I think is gonna be a fantastic backdrop, which of course the mountains back there is pretty nice as well. But we're gonna have larger trees back there because we have the space. We're gonna have larger spacing. We're also gonna be running heavier irrigation. I actually had misspoke earlier when we were back there. We don't have half-gallon per minute bubblers. We're gonna have 1 gallon per minute bubblers back there, because those trees are gonna need a much deeper soaking and larger rings to go along with it. We talk a lot about irrigation here. You can see that it's all about getting water to things, because of course without water you don't have life. And what we want on this farm is life, and life abundantly. So I just want to thank you guys for being here today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section down below. You guys know our Amazon shop. That's a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with the link down below, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. One more thing, last weekend, Lori and I did our first trial run of a live stream. We were trying to figure out the best way we could answer questions for you guys. We answer those down in the comments. We always try to keep up on those, and we try to answer every single comment that there is and every question that there is down there. But we wanted to make sure that we were capturing any of your guys' questions and able to answer those, and that live stream worked really, really well. Had lots of questions, and it was great interacting with you guys in real time. Lori and I really enjoyed that, so I think we're gonna continue that. Our plan is in the new year to probably do that on Saturday late afternoons. Gives us time to kind of get things accomplished here on the farm, and then spend some time with you guys before we call it for the day. So what we'll probably do is we'll announce it in the comments or in the community section here on YouTube. We'll do a couple more vlogs between here and there, and we'll kind of finalize like the days. Probably gonna be Saturdays between 3 and 3:30. We'll get it running. Try to keep it to a half an hour and no more as best we can. But we'll probably do that at least once a month so we can answer some questions for you guys and spend some time with you guys. We really enjoyed that. So again, just want to thank you guys for being here today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere, so can you. My nose.
Is it dripping again?
Yep. And I wet the snot off of there. Me on the ground.
On camera.
Huh?
I got that on camera.
And these tree ring things,
Don't
irrigation,
Point. Don't point if you don't want me to go that way.
salt. So now we're gonna go ahead and get back to work.